Welcome to Megabuild Insider, where we uncover the world's boldest infrastructure projects reshaping our future. Today we take you deep into the heart of Mexico, where a massive $5 billion endeavor is underway, one that could rewrite the rules of international trade and possibly challenge the dominance of the Panama Canal. This isn't just about trains and ports, it's about geopolitics, innovation, history, and the future of global commerce. The project in question is known as the Interoceanic Corridor of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, or CIT. And it's more than a railway, it's a daring bid to position Mexico as a pivotal player in global logistics. Picture a country that for decades stood in the shadows of maritime powerhouses, suddenly stepping forward with a plan that might shift the economic tides. For over a century, the Panama Canal has been the undisputed heavyweight champion of oceanic trade. When it opened in 1914, it was hailed as a marvel of engineering, a revolutionary shortcut that spared ships the dangerous voyage around South America's Cape Horn. The canal connected the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, transforming international commerce by shaving weeks off maritime travel. But as decades rolled by, trade volumes soared, and ships evolved. Supersized cargo vessels now crisscross our oceans, carrying thousands of containers at a time, and the once cutting-edge canal began to show its age. Though expanded and modernized, the Panama Canal faces physical limits, especially when rainfall shortages restrict water flow, impacting the number of vessels it can handle daily. It was precisely during these moments of operational strain that Mexico saw an opening. The Isthmus of Tehuantepec, the narrowest stretch of land between the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean, has long been recognized for its strategic potential. As far back as the late 1800s, visionaries proposed building a trade link across this land bridge. In 1907, under the leadership of President Porfirio Diaz, Mexico did just that, launching the original Tren Interoceanico. The railway brought promise and prosperity for a few short years until the Panama Canal opened and stole the global spotlight. Cargo traffic dwindled, the railway fell into disuse, and it became yet another footnote in the annals of forgotten ambition. But history has a way of circling back. In 2018, newly elected President Andrés Manuel López Obrador saw the dormant potential of the region and proposed a rebirth, a 21st-century reimagining of the old corridor. What he envisioned wasn't just a railway revival, it was a complete transformation, a multimodal transport corridor to rival the canal itself. The Interoceanic Corridor of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec would feature 3 major railway lines stretching over 1,000 kilometers. It would include modern highways that run parallel to the rail routes and 2 state-of-the-art ports, one on the Gulf Coast and one on the Pacific side, designed to handle massive cargo volumes and accommodate modern vessels. Construction began in earnest in 2020. The government cleared old tracks, demolished derelict infrastructure, laid new rails, and invested heavily in engineering upgrades. At one point, the Mexican army was even deployed to seize a section of railway that remained under private control, demonstrating the administration's determination to take command of the project. This was no half-hearted attempt, this was a full-scale national priority. But the obvious question emerges: how can a railway compete with a canal? It's a fair challenge. Ships prefer uninterrupted sea routes, and the Panama Canal offers precisely that. But the CIT is designed as a streamlined intermodal system. The idea is simple but powerful. A cargo ship arrives at one port, unloads containers onto a train or truck that travels across the isthmus. Then the containers are reloaded onto another vessel on the opposite coast and sent on their way. It's not quite as seamless as sailing through a canal, but under the right circumstances, it could be faster, cheaper, and more flexible. This is especially true for ultra-large cargo ships that exceed the Panama Canal's size limits. Instead of detouring around South America, these vessels could offload at one Mexican port, move their cargo across land, and continue their journey with reduced time and risk. Moreover, the CIT provides redundancy. Global supply chains are fragile, as seen during the pandemic, and any disruption, whether from weather maintenance or geopolitical issues, can ripple across continents. The Panama Canal's 2023 drought serves as a stark reminder of that vulnerability. When water levels dropped, Panama had to restrict the number of daily transits from 40 ships to just 25, causing delays and prompting shipping companies to bid millions for passage slots. A secondary route like CIT offers a release valve, alleviating pressure on the canal during times of crisis. Mexico's project is also expected to deliver massive economic benefits domestically. The construction phase alone is projected to create hundreds of thousands of jobs in regions plagued by poverty and underdevelopment. The longer-term vision includes establishing industrial parks along the corridor, attracting international manufacturers, and logistics firms with tax incentives and access to both oceans. These developments could draw up to $50 billion in foreign investment over time, turning the isthmus into a bustling trade and industrial hub. But the CIT isn't just for freight. In December 2023, the first passenger service launched on one of the completed lines, offering a new mode of travel across southern Mexico. This opens doors for domestic tourism, regional integration, and broader mobility options for the local population. Imagine boarding a train on the Gulf of Mexico and watching the scenery shift from coastal wetlands to mountainous jungles before reaching the Pacific, all in a matter of hours. The human story behind this transformation is just as compelling. The project has sparked hope in communities that have long felt overlooked. It has also provoked debate, especially among those concerned about environmental impact, land rights, and the role of military involvement in civilian infrastructure. Yet the vision presses forward. Whether celebrated or contested, the CIT is happening, and it's happening fast. The true measure of its impact will come not just in the number of containers it moves, but in how it reshapes the geopolitical and economic landscape of the Americas. Already, global shippers are watching closely. Logistics companies are running cost-benefit analyses comparing transit times, fees, and risks between the Panama Canal and the Mexican corridor. Some are already in talks to secure port access and rail use ahead of the corridor's full launch. Mexico's bet on the CIT is bold, but not baseless. The world's appetite for trade is only growing, and the bottlenecks in current systems are becoming more apparent with each passing year. Climate change, shipping delays, and rising costs all point to the need for diversified routes and solutions. The CIT represents not just an alternative, but a new era, a modern redefinition of interoceanic transit that builds upon history rather than erasing it. The corridor's success could also prompt neighboring countries to rethink their own infrastructure, strategies sparking a domino effect across Latin America and possibly beyond. It's a signal to the world that regional innovation can compete on the global stage, that the solutions of tomorrow may come from the places least expected. And so, as the rails are laid, and the ports rise, and the trains begin to roll across Mexico's southern plains, a quiet revolution is taking place, one that could echo through the shipping lanes of the world. From a forgotten railway to a potential titan of trade, the CIT embodies resilience, vision, and the power of infrastructure to change not only the economy, but the destiny of a nation. If you've enjoyed this journey into Mexico's transformative infrastructure marvel, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who loves global development, and subscribe to Mega Build Insider for more deep dives into the projects shaping our world. Until next time, stay curious and keep building dreams that move the world forward.